Hi everybody, my name is Jessica Holyfield and I'm a professional dance choreographer and dance educator based out of the southeast of the United States, and we are here taking a look at Street Woman Fighter Vietnam, the crew previews. So I really enjoyed looking at the K-pop challenge of all of the groups, doing some comparisons, things like that. So I'm looking forward to seeing what these groups have in store on their individual brands. Now, I'm making this video not just for fans of the Street Fighter franchise from Korea, but also in Vietnam, but also for the crews themselves. There's already been a crew or two that has commented on my K-pop challenge analysis, and I thank you guys for that support. And I am going to do my best to kind of structure this to where it's beneficial for both fans and for crews if they so choose to use this as a resource. So without further ado, let's get started. Oh. Okay. I love we got tattoos reppin'. Come on, Miss Ma'am. Nice. Cool. Nice. Nice. They do a really good job that I've noticed so far when it comes to syncopation with the lower body with the hips. It's clean. Nice. Cool. Little bit of house. A little bit afro. I'd give it more of that. Cool. Cool. Nice, we're here for it. All right, from the top here, so this is F.E.D. They were my top pick in the K-pop challenge out of all the groups. Sorry, and I know a lot of people agreed, and they were the crew that actually commented on that video, and I have them pinned if you want to go look. And I really love the fact that I was helpful for them, or that they enjoyed my commentary. So I'm going to do my best to be helpful here. So from the top, just a very simple level change in comparison with their outside bookends and then our inside mini group, which is nice. And then you have a nice little, it's more like a staccato based kind of wave to go to the inside. I know we're trying to showcase all of our different colors or our niche or our brand, and I like that fact. The tricky part about it is maintaining captivation whenever we are going and navigating through these different genres, because they're all not the same BPM, but they are hype styles that we're going for. And so sometimes we can run into that potential issue of plateauing captivation based on the content density or based on the fullness of our movement. But it's still very readable and very clean, so you're freaking doing great so far. But having your energy here, little body roll to reset, showing great charisma, great performance and stage presence. Boom, right there, accent with the chest, love it. I like the fact too that you guys you have different hairstyles. It's nice, showcases individuality, but you have some uniformity as well, and makes your choreo come across cleaner when everybody's working with the same textiles in their costuming. So that's why a lot of times you see crews wear the same thing. Even though culturally in street dance, a lot of times you're going to see people wear a similar color palette. If that kind of makes sense. So I think there's beauty in both, just depends on what you want to go for. So from here you have the switch, boom, boom. I like that, where you're using the full weight to shift in your legs in order to make that happen, but also you want it to be crisp enough to where it matches that, oh, I hear it, cool. First feature is still up. We rotate it around, do, cool. You have your 2 peekaboo in the windows, hit, boom. Now we've dropped down, now they've dropped low, and then you have a subtlety going, the accent of the hips. I like the confidence here, letting that chin up, showcasing independence, ladies, and then we drop down. I love that. Great moment there. Dun, 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 dun. Very clear and easy to read from bleeding those arms up. Now I am noticing There's a chance we may not be using our back in that one moment. I could be wrong. Let me check it though. Yeah, so it kind of just feels like we're throwing our arms. Just a suggestion, if you hadn't thought about it, using your back to make that happen, because you can hit different types of dynamics and textures when you use your back. It's going to have more power. It's going to have more punctuation to your movement quality. But I mean, that is so fast. I can't quite check that, so I'm not sure if you guys actually do that. I love her whole vibe. Killing it. I love that click, click. I like that where she goes and she has her moment. Girl, live it. And then I like how everybody did nice just interruptions, engaging of the torso to make it nice and clean and clear. And then we dip right into it. We're here for it. Nice. Very clean on the two diagonals or just our two lines. We like it. Looking great. The look. It's subtle to kind of space out the formation. We're here for it. Digging it in. Nice. I like that we're using our head first to go in. And we kind of let it go a little bit more on that fourth one, and it helps initiate into our next formation, which goes in, little tap down, taking that hand and right there on the top of the thigh. And then you have your two that are connected in some way. I really like the choices of connection, and we're not just independent groups, but we have some sense of like skin in the game, if that makes sense, where we're connecting and allowing our dynamics and our textures to be complementary to each other, which is what we see here. Great levels. Also, you know, showcasing your feminine dominance or feminine prowess is kind of what it comes across as. There, of course, I would always, you know, suggest to have a more, whenever you transition, instead of just walking to your spot, at least it was like, I think it matched the tempo, always wanting to figure out more creative ways to transition outside of just your pedestrian walks. Boom, boom. Oh, I think, hold on, I missed the whole part. Oh, goodness. And dig, I love that, boom. Yeah, just, you know, whenever we take 4 counts to just walk to a new spot, it does feel like, okay, we're transitioning. But also, once again, for a performance preview, this is pretty great. It showcases who you are as a group in the beginning, and it makes me excited to see what you're going to do at the end, how your creativity is going to skyrocket. And whenever you're put under this pressure, sometimes people turn into diamonds. What's going to happen with your movement quality and how you operate as a group? What kind of concepts are you guys going to be bringing to the table over the course of the season? It just makes me very curious and excited because you guys are holding your own so well. Now, in all of this here, I really like the fact that you guys are clean in your content. That's a really big thing for the Street Fighter franchise when you do choreo. That is one of the first things that's going to be looked at is your cleanliness. Second thing I would say is style justification. At least in my neck of the woods is something that I look at extensively, is how is your clean, like how clean you are, which you guys have on lockdown. Second thing, style justification. But what comes with that too can be your difficulty in the authenticity of the style. So regardless of if you're doing a hybrid style, which is what we see here, or if you're tackling, you did some overhead, some air screw variants and whacking, which is also cool, but just keeping in mind that we want to showcase complexity, not just in your content, but also in the formations, in the levels, and with a group of 5, that can get really tricky. There are already some overlaps in the formations that are already existing here in comparison to what I saw in the K-pop challenge, but I know this one is just more so for an introduction, and we technically were already introduced in the K-pop challenge, and it was really, really dope. Like, your K-pop set is sick. Like that, hitting it through, dee-dee-dee. This does take a lot of energy, so kudos to y'all for holding it down, not looking tired whatsoever. I like that, I like that, and then you're taking the foot to help create a nice little nuance at the tail end of it. Looks cool. Then it goes do-do-do-do, really nice. I like that choice, hitting there on the percussion. We're here for it. Then they go do-do-do-do, do-do-do-do-do. Now, it does feel that because we were using our whacking elements, you notice that we had that tail end of the percussion, it kind of just left unchecked, right? We have that dee-dee-dee-dee, dee-dee-dee-dee-dee. So we ended up having like 2 or 3 extra residual percussions. Part of me wishes that if we're going to justify that part of our music with this overhead variant, to do something to at least recognize that we're still hitting it all the way through, because it does feel a bit of we've cut off the timbre to texture connection that we wanted to make there. But that's just an observation. It's really all these things, when I say they're so minimal, and knowing too that that this is potentially it's potentially helpful in some way. I am trying to be very constructive, but not critical. Like, I'm not critical at all. These are just observations, and I'm just being more wordy with it. So, but I'm having a lot of fun. You guys are doing a fantastic job. From there, boom, boom, right there hits the base, mighty fine. Now, of course, right here, you notice some of the arm setup, which is a smidgen off between you two, because also one of you is disconnecting and one's still connected. I think it's just a timing thing. And because I have all of my ladies up here are in unison, my assumption or educated guess is my back two are going to be in unison as well to create two groups, right? And so because I'm noticing that the arms, and that's our focal point from our dancers in the back, it's just something to keep in mind. To, you know, whenever you do back to front kind of choreo and you have it structured this way, it's just something to look at for the cleanliness side of things. Like that, boom, boom, and I like the cross on the foot. That looks really nice. Hit, hit once again, ding, 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 ding. Nice. So you bring you guys back up, which is nice. Also the hands there. I don't know if my girl over here on stage right technically brought her hands down. So yeah, that's just a timing thing. Honestly, some of those things that we just did with those throws, not that, right before that. Yeah, anyway, I was going to say maybe usage of the back could be really helpful for that, but also I think you guys are using it for a lot of your movements, so I'm not really worried about that. So that was just a timing thing on the back row, hitting it through. I like the look. I like that. That's really cool. So it goes dee-dee-dee-dee, dee-dee-dee-dee, but also know this is a range thing of your timing, is they have some people that are fully lengthened, they have some that are kind of bent, so that would be something to clean in the process. If you want your stuff squeaky clean, that's the kind of stuff to look at, is how long you're keeping your arm up and how long it takes to get from your A to your B motion. But that's like, if you're really wanting to go for it, I think you guys are doing fine so far, if I'm being real. So far in your first challenge, you're bodying it. So honestly, you gotta fix what ain't broke. You know what I mean? So I like with my back row, they're throwing the arm. That looks great. And I like the head to also make it complementary. It looks like my back row is showcasing or looking like there's a subtle control going on, and it showcases a subtle level difference, which is really nice. Oop, YouTube. Boom, boom, the pull, and then we take the arms, so we branch them out, and I like having my feature in the middle. Buru ding, cool. Hitting it through, boom, 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 boom. So notice we do have a lot of hip thrusts or variants of that. That's totally fine as long as we create some variety in it, because if we're speaking general public, it does get a little bit tricky to kind of separate the differences between your syncopations whenever you're kind of itemizing it into a particular part of your body. So if we're looking at the hips, boom, 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 to an untrained eye, a lot of times it'll just come across as, oh, they're hip thrusting again, regardless of your musicality. But then other instances, like I can tell that you're hitting different parts of your music, you're doing different dynamics within it, and you're showcasing a sense of power through something that you guys are confident in showcasing as a unit, which I think is great. But that's just an in general note as you continue to showcase yourself and your brand in the future challenges, to keep in mind that what we're exposed to here is something that it's no longer going to be deemed or seen as this overly creative thing, because we've already had and received your brand, if that makes sense. So that's kind of an overview for all the crews, but that's just an in general thing here. Just keep in mind, there's your pelvic thrust again. I like it on the base, it looks fun. I like that ding, 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 ding. Range, of course, could be a little bit more refined in the upper body. Hitting it through, boom, boom, nice, showcasing great power. Your arms don't look awkward, which is really well done considering you don't wear sleeves or you're not wearing like a baggier top. So that's really cool. You have great power behind them. I like the subtlety right here. You're all just kind of ebbing and flowing. We're here for it. So a nice little transition there. Part of me thinks you could have varied that instead of having everybody go the same way, because we've done a lot of unison and we've done mirroring, of course, and we've been different formations, but those little moments you can add in different types of dynamics in your choreographic toolkit, whereas it could be an add-on or it can be not really I wouldn't call it a canon, I'd say an add-on, or just, having your front row and your back row go different directions. That would also really help that, even though I know this is a breather point. We're here for it though. We come up, right here, nice, and then we go and we drop it over, so it's balanced. So just like you guys had your throw with your arms going from stage left to stage right, you're now dropping your level going from stage right to stage left, which I like, and it's an easy way to showcase a feature. We love it. We're here for it. Well, that wasn't really a feature, my bad, but we end up doing a feature over on this side, so that was a nice little peekaboo surprise, expecting something to happen at the tail end of that, but she pops up right here at the top. I love that. Great energy here, boom. And then we drop it back down really nice, even all the way down to the knees, on your knees. That's cool. So we bring it through. Yes, ma'am. The crawls. Great charisma. This right here, her hip for days. Part of me loves that so much, and I think it caught me in a great way on the K-pop challenge too. So if you guys always add like some little hip action like that, I wouldn't have any problem with it, because I really love that execution because it's so full and it's unique in the sense of you don't see many groups or many dancers be able to go that full in a hip accent like that. So that's why I'm saying that can be a really cool kind of, not weapon, but accent or texture embellishment that you can add to your sets. I love that. Really nice on the da-da-da-da-da, and you're going right there on tempo. I love it with the twerk. That's nice. Head bit there, and then go from back to front, hitting it through, boom and boom and boom. Now we do notice I do know at the tail of this could be what you guys are like. This could be like your pose that you do for your group. So maybe that's why I'm kind of clocking it more often, because I saw it at the end. And I've just noticed this degree of arm explored pretty often. So that would just be something to be aware of, that this may be a comfort movement that you guys do. It's like a little Superman kind of variant. So just kind of keep that in mind, that we want to kind of sprinkle it across. We don't want to always rely upon what we're comfortable in. And I'm not saying, like, here's the thing, I don't really like know F.E.D. that well, but I really like their movement quality a lot. And I want them to freaking pop off and grow just like all the other crews. This is cool. I like that with a nice little syncopation with the hip accent. Looks nice. Bringing it up. Boom. And then I love the chest. Great fullness. Boom. Na, na, na. They don't look awkward at all in any of this. Hitting it through a nice on the reset. Boom. Bringing it through. Da 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 da. Here it does feel like, what is it? We are relying a lot on our hands, when we really could be making it more legato in the torso to really make it like that slinky effect. I think that would have really helped create a different texture than just doing extremities to justify that part of the music. But it still looks really, really cool. Love it. Going forward, da-da-da-da, really nice. Dropping it through, bringing it up. I love that with the hip. Boom, with the accent. We're here for it. Yep. So what I'm noticing, we do have a lot of unison when we're doing collective choreo together. So that's just in a general note. I know that you guys do a fantastic job in, like, the only thing I have to go off is the K-pop challenge. So I'm saying keep going with the momentum that you have for that, because as much as I really like this is cool. There's a lot of unison, so I feel like there's other elements of your toolkit that aren't. There's a lot of potential opportunities that we're seeing here that we could utilize that toolkit in different ways. But also, if you're kind of like taking your stuff and putting it in your pocket for a different challenge, hey, don't let me stop you. I think that's great. That's cool. Pick it up right there. Nice little pop, pop. Really nice. And I like how that you all go boom, boom, and you stop. I love the crispness of that. Then going into a nice circle, coming out of it. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. You guys are giving me a little bit of, there's like a little bit of lachika moments, a little, not really ote. Cocoa and butter. It got a little bit of that energy here too, which I think is super dope. Yeah, bring it through. Da, 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 da. Really nice on the step outs are cool. The fullness, I mean, honestly, you guys are popping off. I know it's only 1:50, but it's full out. So, good job for that. That hit, hit, boom, boom. And then, of course, levels. Noticing if you are doing unison, it's going to be hard for us to not compare you to each other because you're all supposed to do everything at the same time. So, I think my girl right here just went a little bit too high. I love the rotation, a little ISO there. Little guns, boom, boom, boom. We go. We set it back up. Yep. Heading it through, once again, we see this arm, so that's just in a general note. The slide through right here, I like that with the levels. Honestly, you really could have gotten away with going over instead of everybody dropping low, having 2 of them stay up and just keep tempo. That would have honestly hit the same, but you would have had more levels justified. Body roll down, they go do 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 do. Nice. I don't think it was an air screw or anything like that. It was the same arm that we saw in the peel going from stage left to stage right. I love that with the arms. Oh, gorgeous. Ding, ding, ding. Then from here, little clap, clap. And I like that where you have some subtle variants going on with the upper body. That's really fun. Different little details. We're here for it. Then the every other. Boom, boom. Very quick. And so it's hard. Like, you have to be clean in order to catch that. And in this case here, they did a pretty good job. So notice you have your arms, of course, my girl back here. My gut tells me she's supposed to be going with these two and not with my girls right here, or she's off. So that would be, you want to kind of avoid having us have to decide who's correct, right? The swing is nice. They go through a down body roll and they go, I like the little flick with the hands. Double, boom, boom. Yes, with the chest. Love it. Yep. And then they finish. So yeah, so I'm assuming just and if you guys watch this, please comment and let me know if this is in fact true. Is this kind of your how you finish. I don't think you guys finish this way in the K-pop one. It was a fold over, very like Barbie-esque pose, very mannequin-esque. So I honestly like the fact that this feels different than what you guys have already shown, which makes me even more excited to see what else you're gonna bring, because this is a fantastic start. I mean, this is good. Thumbs up to this. Very, very nice.
Chun-Li. But I wonder, what can I do for this girl? Want to see my kung fu?
That was cool. Really fun gimmick. I like that. Cute. Okay. I'm seeing more Vogue influence for sure, but I think a lot of it comes from the track. Nice. Fun. Okay. Okay, nice. And I think I had Hanoi Girls as in my top 3 of the challenge. Okay, so I really like the fact that we had the chopsticks creating the buns, and then you took them out and everybody had more of the straight pigtails. That was a really cool gimmick. I'm not used to seeing that. So definitely gives a, you know, retro gaming kind of vibe, which we're here for. I wonder, what can I do for this girl? Boom. We walk over. Everybody else is set up. Click, 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 click. When you're going to do this type of style, something that I've already mentioned it with F.E.D, but I will mention it here, of cleanliness really matters if you're trying to go for particular lines and hitting certain parts of your music. So in the case here, I really think that click click, using your back, I think could be a huge thing with this group, and because a lot of these choices when they go out in, especially coming from the forearm, when you want that elbow to be a fixed point in some way, shape, or form, having your back to help allow that freedom of making this not move allows a lot of other dynamic choices that are gonna look inconsistent in a group format by not utilizing that part of your body and your core. To take through, boom, 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 boom. And I think a great example is this moment right here. I don't think she's using her back. So watch. As she hits it through. Oh, actually, I take that back. Haha. Ding, 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 ding. Yeah, no, you are. My bad. I think, let me see what everybody else is doing though. Ah, so some people are not, and that's what it is in the back. So she is, but she's an example of not, because notice what happens to her forearm and what happens to the connection of the bicep tricep, because her arm changes in the angle in which it's supposed to be. You see what I mean? So that's the kind of stuff you want to avoid. So that's why you have to have this connected in order for this to not move. So that's my general note here on whenever you're trying to maintain a particular angle and you want to create a nice little teeter-totter effect, your back is vital in order to make that happen. And so if hypothetically everybody was clean, everybody used their back, her having this control, boom, 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 I wouldn't have had to question at all, are we going for this visual of like ping-ponging off from side to side? So that's in a general note. I like it though. Looks cool. You want to see my kung fu? I love the gimmick of that. Yeah, boom, boom, boom. Yeah, and they go back in, click, click, click. Usage of the core. Yeah, do. I think part of the tail end of that, I think it's with the rotation. Let me see. The speed change on that was also cool, but notice that some people are moving their arms at a different rate than their body, and that goes back to everything I've said. I don't want to be redundant on that, but using your core and using the parts of your body that are the most like developed muscle-wise in terms of like holding it down, having those things and having it in lockdown is going to allow you the freedom to create speed changes, which is what we're trying to go for here, but it's unrefined because we're not all on the same page on where our energy is coming from or the focal point of of what stays still or what needs to give the impression of being locked in place and not moving and deviating from the vision, right? So taking this here, that right there, da-da-da-da, pick it up, they throw it. That's really fun. I like that. So we go into a little catwalk. Now, I did have somebody in my comments on the K-pop challenge say that, just talking about and advocating for the Vogue culture, 1000% agree with you. Like, you need to be, if you're gonna use Vogue as like a heavy integration into your choreography, and basically pick your track and a lot of your nuances referenced off of it, I would say being a student of the culture, as well as being somebody who, is studious in that way and invested in it, is going to work in your favor, because all of these street dance styles that we see here all have they're cultural, they're social, you know, just like Vietnamese culture is different than Chinese culture, different than Japanese culture. They all have their own respective cultures, and whenever you go somewhere or whenever you're referencing something that pertains to a culture outside of your own, or if you're somebody who is studying a particular culture, there is a natural respect that comes with that. And so I don't know any of these crews. I don't know their backgrounds, and I kind of like just being able to look at the choreography and be able to tell just based on their movement quality how we fare in culturally, right? So that's just an in general note. I have seen comments like that, and I do agree that we want to have some respect to the different cultures. But I can't sit here and assume that they're a part of a Vogue culture or not, just based off of a 1.5-minute video. Does that make sense? I think that would be something that they would need to disclose, or those that are affiliated, if that makes sense. So my position here is commentator, analyst, somebody who's lending a helping hand with the type of skill set that I have of looking and studying movement quality through various dance styles and street styles specifically in a competition format, and seeing how can we help grow dancers, because whenever you're in a competition format, sometimes it's always nice to have opinions that can be beneficial and help you be a catalyst for your growth and not to stifle. So like, this is a no way as criticism. None of what I'm saying is criticism. It's just observations and general suggestions because of my time sitting in this chair studying the Street Fighter franchise on the competition scene. But all this here, so it's nice. I like the deviation of having some of them keep their arms up, some keep their arms down, the little hop on that, da-da-da-da. I like the setup on that. That was really nice. And then from here, we're going into it does feel like we're doing a little cannon action, right? Yeah, so that was fun. Let me see, let me go back and take a look here. Yeah, just the different levels on that to going high, mid, low. I really like those choices. Also, we have some pretty animated faces, and then we have some pretty fierce faces. So that would be something I wonder, are we supposed to go for both? Go with your own flow? I'm kind of fine with any of it, but it's just, it's not quite clear on like what kind of vibe you want to go with. Are you going more comical? Are you going more fierce? What's kind of the end game on it? Because some of this, do you want to see my kung fu? Like, it does feel very gimmicky, which I think is cool, especially if you're going for a particular concept and it helps justify your the usage of what you've used so far. With the walks, really nice. I love that hit, da-da-da, yeah! Bringing it up, the crossover, and then you have them bring the arm up. So right here, your stability looks pretty good, having the leg up. Probably honestly, because of the position you're in order, if you wanted to make it more comfortable, you could tuck the hip under in order to make this more of a side, just, 90-degree leg extension. But I think the fact that all of you have committed to having both of your hips face the front allows this to have a more clean line about it. And so I like the fact that all of you are also staying balanced. Yay for that. We love it. But also having your arms to the same, like, very similar degree of angle that we're going for. We love it. And then you have these little peekaboo moments with your other two, which is nice. And they go da-da-da-da, cool. And then from here they go, and I like the little wave action here. Let me kind of take a look though. Oh, so you actually, instead of waving it, you just did shoulders to create some breath through it. So I like that energy transfer, pulling them over to the side. Bah, nice. And then we take our chopsticks, bringing it through. Personally, I feel that didn't really help with, I guess, specifically the cleanliness side. That's going to be a really big factor in this competition format, for sure, is cleanliness. And just using the chopsticks in that way, it's a fun gimmick, but it kind of just feels like a filler to get us to our next spot in comparison to using them to help make it something a little bit different. But that could be just a personal preference of mine, and that's, that's fine. You just take my word with a grain of salt. that little shing, cool. And then from here you have it, of course, I like the level showcase. I do think my girl right here in center could squat a little bit lower because we are missing some details from our furthest back member. Also, I do see because of the camera angle, there's a chance that by her getting lower, it's going to have her also get stuck between this dancer. So what would naturally happen is if you could take this dancer, scoot her back a smidge, and then you would be able to represent 3 different distinct levels in your center choreo. But there's also a chance that your girl in the far back could be peekabooing and threading through what's going on here in this back. So let me actually watch it again just to see what's really going on. Okay, so based on just context of what we kind of saw, I would personally vote to have these levels more clear and not have somebody covered up, because I don't think she's doing enough in her back positions to make it justified that she's covered up, if that makes sense, based on the spacing that you have for everybody else. But I like the choice. This little punch, punch, punch. I like the extensions. Are really fun. Little head's nice. And then right here it goes into some overheads, which we like, some arm control for sure. And from there they go up. And I do like these little resets with the head accent. It's fun. And you have a little bridge going on. I like the little bridge retire. But you can see one of your girls prep her going into a back walkover. My personal note with that is I understand why she's there, but because we could see her peekaboo in the spacing, it makes the formation look off. So that's just an in general note, but I love this transition of energy that's moving through, going into this little back walkover is nice, into a little dip, which is cool. From here, go out, nice overheads. You're threading it through, bringing it down. I like that little cool with the straddle. We come up, take the leg up, and then we thread it through. My note there is notice with some of your hips. Yeah, some of our hips are starting at a different place. Some of us are bending the leg right here by the hip. Others have already extended it out. So that's going to be a cleanliness note there, especially it comes across that we're trying to go in unison. And I think all of us are supposed to look front. This looks different depending on, you know, if you're looking down or if you're looking front. So I would say that could be a good suggestion to make sure you clarify when you're going to do floor work. Where's your head? Because sometimes because we are on the ground or we're twisting ourselves in a different positions and we're not looking directly front in the mirror all the time, that is a hard thing to remember to do, but that will help provide clarity for your audience to know this is supposed to be a unison section, because right now it's the most unrefined in that regard. I like that little body roll to the kind of hiccup on that, and then we have a nice little moment right here. And she does a little twirl through, a little march. It's cute. I like that. And then a little marches down into a little kip up. We're here for it. And then right here we go kick, kick, kick. Now that right there, I think it could have been a potentially good moment for everybody to have their own moment of reaction from your kick. Because everybody just kind of did a peel around, which what I understand that we're trying to hit certain parts of our music, which polyrhythm through delegation we love. But because of this kick, it doesn't feel like it has a functional purpose outside of just being another gimmick that reiterates what you've already done. So in order to kind of enhance it or make it feel more complementary to the push of your storyline, having each member based on the kick, because it does feel like you are kicking in the directions of your members, it would allow them to have some sense of reaction to your kick, and it'll feel more purposeful, I guess is my in general note there. Yeah, all that there. And then the undercut, boom, and then into the dip. So I like that pop, that accent there. I love her motion there. Looks fun. Now, this is something I forgot to talk about with F.E.D, but I'll talk about it here with Hanoi, and there's a good chance I'll bring it up with all the other crews. The formats that we're already starting to see here are HHI formats. And so for me, my judge training has actually stemmed from the Hip Hop International rules and regulations. So I'm very familiar with the structure of that choreography, and I'm very familiar and I'm very saturated in adjudicating that type of choreographic structure of justification on that rules and regulations. In this case here, I saw it with both F.E.D and I noticed it with Hanoi Girls. They are kind of breaking up their styles that they want to showcase in these little chunks or these little sections, which is what you do for HHI if you want to justify a style for your style points on the skill side of the choreography, or skill side of your judging spreadsheet. Or yeah, anyway, if that can make sense, your skill form. So that's kind of the, that's always, I would like to proceed with the heat of caution whenever you're going to do a show that is not, it's not meant to be formatted that way. They're looking for more creativity, more, I guess, entertainment is going to be a really big thing. I know on the TV side of things, more entertaining for your general audience is going to placate better than emotional or intimate. I get that. For me, I always love being an advocate for art, and I like being in the position that I'm in to help others see the beauty of art as well. That's why I love doing what I do, but I know not everybody thinks the way that I do. I get it. So there's not enough justice in the world to appreciate art. I get it. But anyway, I just heed on the side of caution. We don't want to overstructure our routines because what happens is that it just kind of feels like you're justifying the style. It doesn't feel like you're showcasing yourself as a group outside of, hey, look at what we can do. It doesn't feel like, where's the creativity I've seen so far, and some of your gimmicks in the beginning. But this near tail end was giving a little request, a little royal in terms of the structure of it. And that's something that we always want to avoid, is having your routine remind us of another routine, but also that's kind of impossible at this point because of just the oversaturation of the dance scene. But that's why I always want to be an encourager to having creative ways to get in and out through your style justification. And you don't just have to say, okay, we're going to do an Afro section to showcase, hey, we can get, you know, a little bit more grounded and grimy. You know, and they have the exact same note that I'm giving, that I gave F.E.D. We're not given any break from the hype, right? We don't have any breath, no ebb and flow with it. And that can kind of make this feel a bit plateau to the general public, because it's just like, okay, we've kind of already seen this degree of intensity. We've already seen that gimmick. We've already seen that setup, things like that. And that's, you know, you can't please everyone. That's fine. And once again, none of these are criticisms. These are just observations. That'll just be something to kind of think about as a group. I want to see a group showcase themselves, not what wins, if that makes sense. Because, I mean, it was Street Fighter. I've always preferred, some of the most captivating performances were the ones that took the most risk in terms of showcasing themselves as a group, and not we have to do this schema of what's going to work for the challenge so people will notice us, you know. But I know that's really hard for this. This is the first time we've had a Street Fighter in another country, so there's a lot of pressure there. So I get that. I like the connection of everybody there, which was nice. A little body roll there. Super fun. Come back in. This part right here with the connection, with the whip. It does remind me of little F.E.D. So I'm going to give F.E.D. that same note. It does. This feels like a little format already, which is, you know, time will tell. After the K-pop challenge, when we look at the episodes, what are we looking at in terms of these groups? So far, I mean, it's still very strong. Do not get me wrong. All of these so far, 2 for 2, very decent, holding their own, no problem. I like this right here. Boom, Imagination, they drop out. Imagination, we've already kind of done a little hair twirl already. That's just a little note there. This right here, dun da da doom 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 doom, heavy Afro influence on this. Bring it up, do and hit and hit. For me, I would always want to kind of strive to have a little bit more. Let me see. This stuff looks really nice. Some people are using their torso more than others, so that would be my note. If you're going to do a unison section like this, then make sure everybody's on the same page on where your energy is originating from in your torso. Nice, hitting it through. I like that. That little build out is nice. Accenting out. I love the absence of sound with the arms out, and then we bring it right back in. I love that here. We take it out. Boom, da da doom. Really nice. With the gun, super fun. I did feel like we were doing like, it's not a imniki, but that little setup is something I've seen in some like Amapiano influenced viral routines, which is cool. With your hips there. This right here. That's not, hold on. So this move's called a leg work. That's what I was wanting to make sure. In my head, I kept thinking happy feet. That is not a happy feet. That is leg work. I like that with the polyrhythm of making it nice and smooth in the upper body. I love that. That was cool. Body roll there. So I really, really like how they're doing this Afro section. It's very full, and I love some of their groove integration. I'm just going over the context of cleanliness can really help if you're doing and going for unison, can help advocate for your group in multiple challenges. Little pull-pulls are nice. Body roll down. Really nice. They go back in. And then right here, that boom. And then we melt around. And then we finish little twinkle, twinkle. We're here for it. Very nice. Very strong. I mean, so far I had like F.E.D. I think I had at number 1. HANOIXGIRLS I had at number 2. So let's go ahead and take a look at our next group. Oops. Okay. On a party. Okay. Every day. Okay. Nice. Cool. Oh, we decided to do little individuals. Reminds me of Bank Two Brothers. I remember their set. They just said, let's just do a cipher for our crew preview. Dope. Okay, cool. So that's an XG track. Girl Gang. So the little bleed out here. Initial thoughts. I think this one, it's refinement is a really big thing. Usage of your torso. Whenever you're doing any types of throws or any syncopation on those bases, you want it to feel residual with the whole body to help justify the bases. And sometimes the extremities were kind of overshooting some of our choreographic content choices. But right here, the setup here, the bring up that woom woom. I do think in general what I'm noticing is some of our movement looks a smidgen cut off. You know, right here. Oh, hold on. We come up, so we go from front row to back row. Hitting it through, woom, woom, doon, doon. Okay, so it goes from side to click, click. So I can hear it right there on the music, but it did take me, I'm going to circle back about 2-3 times to catch that. So that's just an observation of sometimes whenever we're wanting to hit certain parts of our music, how we sequence it. And we want to look at readability, right? So for me, I'm a dance analyst, so I'm used to looking at content and having to look at it with a fine-tooth comb, but there's also, you have your general public, and a lot of them influence a lot of the voting that goes with this. There's not a ton of Jesses that look and can appreciate these nuances and that kind of stuff. Some people are not going to catch that, right? But there are ways in which you can go boom and then do something that not necessarily is bigger, but can introduce justifying that sound, but in a way that placates to who your audience is. Because remember, you're not, yes, you have judges, but we all know how the Street Fighter franchise works. And I'm going to assume that Vietnam will work the same way. Global voting is going to have a heavy, heavy influence. So the layman lens is going to be heavy on the consideration factor for how you structure your routines, especially if you're wanting to play the game, right? Now, for me, I always advocate, do whatever you want, live your life in the sense of be respectful of the cultures you're gleaning from if you're a visitor of it. But my point is that, like, some of our choices, like, I really liked that choice, but I wish that it was very clear and readable for me to see from a first glance and be captivated and drawn in by, not trying to make sure and clarify what I'm watching. I think is my in general note with that and some of the other movements there. But in general, that's cool. There's your hinge around, really nice. They take it, nice little snake over to separate. There's your yeah with a little bleed. Cool. Let me see. Did you guys do... Let me do that. Okay, so I don't know if I noticed it. It's just based on the quickness of it. So you did kind of a tense or speed change wave. I'm always an advocate for this because as somebody who is in the waving culture, that is a really big thing, is finishing your wave through your fingers. So that's a general note for you guys. If you're going to do a speed change, make sure you finish it before you move on. And I think that kind of ties into a really big note that I have of there are some moves or some sequences that feel a bit incomplete or rushed through and not punctuated to justify on that part of the music you're going for. So that's a little note there. Now right here, boom, boom, boom. Cool. On the bounce, I like that. Boom, do, and hit, hit, hit. Nice with the little pot de beret. Then it goes boom, bass, bass. I like hitting the double bass. It looks nice. And then party. Good transition to come out of it. Little punch to the back is cool. Then we go and extend it over. Boom, boom. Notice on that, I think we were trying to go for, we have a feature in the back, and then we have 3, and then we have somebody a little bit lower. It could be because of the camera angle, but because your levels are all really, really similar, except for my girl right here, it is hard to see this deviation. It kind of looks like she's off. Does that make sense? So for me, my note would be, if you're going to want to go for 2 features on the outside, I'm assuming that they are intentionally doing their arm positions, have at least a mirror in the levels represented, and doing the same arms, or be clear on these levels back here. If you're going to deviate, they got to be different. Or your hands have to be executed a little bit different, because here and here are a little too close. You're just literally like less than a foot away. And normally whenever you want to justify different arm instances, I talk about this a lot when I analyze K-pop choreo, the artists are not exempt from this concept either. You want to be able to find your feature. And so in dance content, it works the exact same way. You don't want your audience to kind of be like, was this supposed to be unison, or was it supposed to be a featured moment? Because right now I can't tell you. I'm assuming that yes, we're going for 2 features, or specifically my girl right here, but then I have a group of 3 that's happening right here. Everyone's captivating in their own right, but it's not telling me who I need to look at, right? And that's kind of what you want to be as a group whenever you're a visual representation of your music, is be an aid to help guide your audience to know here's where you need to look when. And that's the beauty of musicality as well. That bass there, boom, boom. I like that with the boom, boom. That's nice. And right there with the body roll, boom, we go into a little transition. We rotate it around. I like her rotation there. Boom, nice. We're here for it. And we go and we hop there. That little trust me. So I really like the choices on what you're choosing to hit. It's great. You're delegating and you're listening to all of it, and you're showcasing all the parts of the music. My general note is going to be complexity. What's going to be really helpful is diving into what does it look like to be more polyrhythmic in your content, because hip hop is a polyrhythmic style. The music is polyrhythmic, meaning you're doing 2 or more things at the same time, rhythms or movement qualities or textures at the same time that are different, right? So in the case here, that is technically a little polyrhythm that you just did, but what I'm referencing is hitting 2 different timbres of your music at the same time. It's hard to do, but that's what makes it complex, right? You want to showcase more of that, to showcase what you're capable of, and to present the track in a way that you don't have to be the singer to do, that you are dancers, because you are. But remember, this is a competition as well, and so what's going to be looked at is not just your cleanliness, your overall presentation performance, your style justification, and your complexity of movement. So things that the general public normally looks at are going to be how clean a group is and how complex or difficult their choreography appears, as well as the full outness or the commitment to your character that you're choosing to express. So those are kind of like the go-to layman things that everybody who has eyes are able to kind of look at. So my note for Oops, and pretty much any group that I look at, there's always ways you can go and workshop and explore either more complex formations, more complex transitions, or more complex content or levels. Those things, when you fit them all together, you create a really cool, interesting surprise factor of your routine, because that's something that I do feel is a smidgen missing here out of observation for me and my saturation of the Street Fighter franchise and my time on various competition circuits and being exposed to so much choreography in my life. There's a bit of predictability that's in play here. And I've seen XG's Girl Gang as well. So there's that little subtlety. Are you doing certain predictable movements on top of the track that were done in the original choreography, if that makes sense too. So there's also that whenever your song choice does influence these things as well. I like that choice with a little heel toe. That's super nice. With a rotation here. D. We're here for it. Nice. A. Now, are we going bass, or are we going the A? I think that would be really nice to have some clarification of the head. Or, if we're going to hit hard every day, if we're going to hit that part, or if we're going to go boom, boom on the basses, that was a bit not clear. I think we were just going on whole counts versus actually paying attention to the music and ebbing and flowing with it. So it did feel a bit of a muddled section personally for me. I like that part, boom, from one side to the other side. Yep, boom, and double it up. We're here for it. Very nice and clean on your formation. We're here for it with a swing, nice. And the rotation, zoom around, cool. I think range could be a little bit better there. Little pulls and pulls, cool. Picking it up and we triple it up. Okay, let me go back and see this little part again. Da, 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 da. Only got room for this part right here. I think that was supposed to be unison. Our arms were not clarified. And you can notice that here, yeah, click, click. Some people didn't have both of them hit, hit. And also some people were using their head and some were not. So that would be a clarifying thing. And then we go bad is some people were hovering and some were committing. So that would be another thing too. And then we bleed it through. Some people end up, you know, moving through. Some go to the back. I like that with the pulls. Dun, dun. This part is nice tutting progressions. I'm not going to give it arm control because we don't have other Vogue context to kind of give it that name. I'm going to call this more of a isolated tutting sequence right here. And this is like more like a cat and mouse, like copy paste kind of vibe, copycat, where you have one arm go and then you have another arm that's going a different pattern. So I like this. This is really nice. But also notice what's going on. One of my girls, I clocked you that you were a little bit off right there. I think you had to hold for a second because we missed one. So there's that. Yep, so we missed it right down there. So that'd be my note there. Hit there. Also, I think my girl over here on stage right. Okay. So I understand with my back group, we're using one of our arms that's showcasing more on this side. Cool. And then we have another arm justified on this side. This could have been this is a pretty decent way of kind of getting away with not having to do polyrhythms with one person, because you could have somebody, I did say copy paste, so I was expecting like with one arm is here, one arm's here, when I fold this up, this one goes out, and then vice versa. Does that kind of make sense? I was kind of expecting that, but that's not really what I got. I just got one arm and one arm's kind of glued down. That is a perfect opportunity to explore complexity, I think, is my general note. That is one thing that I would love to see. With all these groups, each group has a different element that I'm excited to see growth in. For this group, it's going to be your complexity of content. I'm really excited to see how you workshop some of your choices to enhance them, to make them more captivating and more creative in the execution that showcases you as a group. Yep, the switch there, it's nice. That part right there did give the appearance that my front girls were doing this arm that's on the left side, but they weren't, which was cool. Yeah, and little hit, nice to get it to the other side. Of course, a little spacing clarification over here on stage right, but then we fix it for you. That right there, I think we could have had more travel up the torso. Dun, dun, that bum, bum. Because of the type of a tone that we got for that section, that's boom, boom. Like, I understand that, but that one felt a smidgen muted, doing a double to the same direction versus going opposition in your body roll. So that's just a suggestion or observation there. And then we do a little basket run. I'm going to talk about these a lot. If you're going to do a competition choreography, this is technically what it is. It's a crew preview, but it's still on brand. You're in competition because global voting is a really big thing and everyone's going to view it. My note for that, when you do basket runs, no one is exempt from this note. The best in the world get the same note. If you do a basket run in your transition, that is one of the most missed opportunities to showcase complexity in a transition, is to opt for a basket run. Yes, is it clean? 1,000%. That's why so many people do it, but it's also going to lower your difficulty. It's going to lower your captivation. And it's going to make your choices more predictable. And you're helping me, and not in the best way, predict, okay, here's what we're about to do. You're kind of stifling the energy build that you've been setting up throughout. And that's just an in general note to everybody. I'm just noticing it with Oops, because I'm seeing a basket run right now. Does that make sense? And we have two of our girls do a nice little peekaboo, but it doesn't discount the fact that I just saw a basket run for 4 counts, right? Little bleed through, that little, yeah, boom, dun, dun. I like some of these choices with a double and the double. I love those. Really explore with those. I really like the potential of them. I like this part right here, but notice there's this percussion, this extra build that's coming in, and we're going super legato. I kind of like the risk taking on that, but you have to justify it through your commitment, through other contexts of other parts of your music. How are we going to hit that percussion? Are we going to hit that percussion? So we go from side to side. So I think that was another missed opportunity, is that percussion being integrated in. I think that could have helped build, because look what's happening again. We have another basket run. Yes, we are rotating it. And a lot of times in K-pop groups, I give them a cop-out, or I give them it's fine because they have to sing too. But for dancers, and if you're doing a dance choreography, basket runs, you really want to keep to a minimum, or you want to have them less than 2 counts. Even if they're rotation right there, you could polyrhythmically add some ticking into your arm positions that you showed earlier. You can add it in there. You can add a different texture, literally a snaking body roll, instead of just tucking and running, because it's a very it's just a missed opportunity. And that's just, it could be anybody in the world. I say that. I like that part, which is cool. But one of our girls started her body roll too early. Then we go boom, word flow, and then we go create tension, boom, in, out. So all this I think could be better, bigger, or not bigger, could be cleaner in the lower half because it's unison. That is a natural expectation. When you do unison, you all have to look the same. So that's my general note there. But I like that part. Hit, hit, hit. Nice little heel, toe, heel going on there. I think that's more like I wouldn't call it maybe a crab step variant. I've heard of that. Not James Brown, not Charleston or anything like that, but it's not even a bedrock. It's just there's so many different names just depending on how you do it, but it's a heel toe weight shift variant that we're seeing there. From there, rotate it over. Some people are really committing with their upper body, some are kind of making it more just subtle. That right there, all of my ladies, and then we turn it through. I like the transition with the hop up. That's cool. But that I don't know if we were all supposed to do. One of our girls was a little bit late right there. And so that's a perfect example of I didn't know if we were doing a 2-point like da-da-da-da or if we were doing everybody at the same time because there was music that could allocate for a da-da-da-da, a syncopated moment, but we didn't take advantage of that if everyone was supposed to be in unison. We were riding a little bit too long in the track and we were missing all these extra sounds that could really lead to more digestion or like more digestibility and more captivation into your routine. Da-da-da-da, cool. And then of course we have my girl over here on stage left, just refinement of getting everybody on the same page with your arms. That's okay. Boom, boom. I like my girl in the center. Also keep note, as somebody who has adjudicated before and as somebody who is going to be a part along for the ride, a lot of times, I'm not saying this is what Oops is doing, but I'm just saying that a lot of groups, big groups do this. So in mega crews, if they have a mega crew challenge, that may be something that we notice. A lot of times people put dancers who this is not their niche, or they put like the dancers who they want to feature in the front center for these types of moments. And dancers who have different, not skill levels or skill sets, or skill sets where they have better strengths in other areas, they're going to put them in the back corners. But that's where I look as a judge. I look in the back corners, because, especially if it's a unison section, because you can really tell the group's cohesion and their unison just based on the dancers that are in the back corners, because that's normally through strategy where people put people that aren't, that's not like their strongest focal point, and most laymen are going to look at the front center. That also makes sense. Also, fun fact too, a lot of times people are just going to look from the bust up. They don't really look at the footwork unless the footwork is a focal point. So for me though, that's why I'm clocking her a lot, is because I am looking at outskirts more often than I am in the center. I kind of haven't really been looking at her as much. I do like her movement quality though. I can tell just based off of the peripherals. But going back here, I love her energy here. If everybody was doing it the exact same way that she was doing it, this part would be insane, honestly. I like that. Boom. Oh, hold on. So everyone's making their own arm choice there. That word flow there, the prep, notice that not everybody's originating from the back. That's where your power is going to come in, and you can really see that from my front and center girl. Yeah, so that all right there, that being unison, everybody do their own thing here is nice, cool. All of my ladies in fire. Now notice that is a subtly different footwork. I think that's more of like a bedrock. The first one was a crab step. From an analyst standpoint, like that's, for me, that's something that like I can see the difference. A lot of people may not see the difference between those, and you're hitting the same part of the timbre, but you are doing a side-by-side footwork. So that would be a note to either vary that, so have it go front to back, or make it an add-on, or make it a ripple, or use other toolkits in the choreography outside of content to make it, give it more breathing room, or to make it look different or package it differently, even though it is technically different in footwork. Because remember, global, not everybody, most of your audience are going to be dance enthusiasts. They're not going to be analysts, and they're not going to be people who can like itemize and see these little baby differences. So for me, I think you guys have a lot of your toolkit here. It's just we're not utilizing it in its most optimal settings. It's kind of what I'm noticing, which makes me very excited to see you in this season. I love seeing growth. I love seeing growth in crews. Dropping it down, boom, doom, doom, and then we have a little speed change. I love the fact that you guys did individual features. Thank you for that. It definitely makes me feel like, welcome to the crew. Yes. Yep. This is cool. So I'm not really going to give any notes on this as much because it's more freestyle movements. We'll let you live your life. We're here for it. I like that. That was cool with the camera shot, like it was a fixed point. Drops it down into a little split. My note here is just be mindful of your inner thighs. I don't know if we quite hit the full straddle on that. I think just the setup was a little different. Just be mindful of that. Sometimes misplacement can cause like a pull. At least I physically have experienced it, which is why I'm making it a note. That right there was a really cool shot with the camera. I like that. From here to here, word flow, boom, hitting it through. I like the kick on that little pot of beret with the girl gang. Now notice we have a more unison section here. Does it feel different than the other sections? Not really. And that's why, for me, I think we want to have a routine where, yes, please have unison. We want to see that. If there's something so captivating with watching a ton of people do the exact same thing in the exact same way, it's really cool. But you don't want too much of it or an oversaturation of that in your routine. You want to showcase other elements or showcase your members in different ways with different feature moments, different levels, things like that. So when you do have a unison section, it's going to feel really powerful and impactful. Unfortunately, here it doesn't feel that way, and it's not because it's not the cleanest. It's because we've already been exposed to this degree of power earlier on, so we've kind of mismanaged our where we're kind of delegating our power a smidge. Dropping it down right there. This could have been a really cool level opportunity where some of you stayed up and save your knees a little bit, but I don't mind the risk taking on that. I like the slide through, take it and drag it through. I love that. Ooh, we love it. I like that. This whole little mess is cool where they go boom, boom on the bases and we tuck that leg in. That was nice. And then that's cool. Then we take it down. And then from here, that's really great control. It's probably one of the best I've seen so far because I think Hanoi Girls is something similar, but their range, I clocked them on that. Here, those who have a sense of like who's a little different, they're actually mirrored, which is why it feels balanced still. So you have your girl right here killing it, love it, but there's a reason why she's front and center is because she can kill it. My girls on the outside right here, they have that bent leg, but they're mirrored. So good job on delegation on where you put people where they're the most similar in execution, because that's working in your favor for this moment right here. And it looks great. Like, this is cool. Boom. Yep. And now let me look at the head because I gave Hanoi Girls the same note. Some people are looking down, some are looking out. I think all of you are looking out except for my girl over here on stage left. So that would be my note. Communicate on how your head is supposed to look when you do anything on the floor. Just in general, because that you want to encompass or like showcase a feature. Like in this case, there's really not a feature. So everybody looking front would be really helpful. But that also can really help delegate on like, okay, I want this person to be featured. So everyone's going to look away except for her. Like it's a really nice subconscious psychological way to get people to look at someone because they're looking at us hypothetically, right? So cool. Bring it through the throw, and then we take it, moving it through. We hit light subtlety there. And then right here into a V. Now I'm very familiar with having to navigate with a group of 5. So we've kind of already seen this V many times before. So I would say levels, dynamics, but also figuring out different ways to utilize those things and to find different ways to transition into a formation like this, because we've already kind of seen this already. Kind of feels just like a typical format choice. Hey, and then we go and we take it and we create that energy over to the side. And we have our hinge there. Nice range on the hinge. That looked great. Hey, and that right there. You did have the option to double it like you did in the beginning, but I think it's fine that you didn't. Hey. Okay, did you notice that? Okay, notice where they go, hey, they've reset. So you could hear that interruption. That is the exact verification or like validation of my very first note I gave of when they go side, click, click. That was really hard to read because it wasn't like that crisp cleanness that justifies subtle textures like that or subtle dynamics like that. That right there was over, click, click. I read it so fast. And it was on the same part of the music too. So that right there, oops, if you watch this, that's what I'm talking about. It's like, I really like the fact you did that, because even if you're not 1000% crisp and clean, and I'm not saying you have to be, you know, everyone is subject to being known for different things, but in a choreography competition format, that is going to be something you are judged by, regardless if your group is known for it, which is why I make it such a thing. This isn't a K-pop group, it's not a C-pop group, where they are allowed the liberties of different roles or what they're known for. If you're doing a Street Fighter format, you have to be clean. Like that's going to be your first thing you're docked on. But I digress. I love that. Do more stuff like that. Super cool. The walkthrough, I like that. Yeah. And then we go right back into the V. I think a straight line would have worked. And then even how we pull, some of us pull from the chest, some pull from the hips. So I say clarification on that. And we finished. So in general, I mean, that's not bad. I like your pants. I think I own those pants or like a variant of them. And I like that puffer. As you can see, I'm puffed out too. Let's go. I like it. Way to go. Oops. Yeah. They had the little sprout on one of the toboggans. I remember them for that. Cool. Okay. Okay, I like this progression. That was dope. I like the V on that. Cool. Ah, that was a fun little reveal. Okay, so my note is the exact same here, like what I gave Salad at the K-pop challenge. They have to beef up their syncopation choices. They're hitting whole counts and and counts, and we're not hitting on the Andienas or exploring different pockets in the different parts of our music for a competition like this. Remember, a lot of what I'm talking about specifically here, because I do an analysis on a wide range of content, remember this, I'm specifically talking about the Street Fighter format. And we also know Wu-Tae is going to be on panel as one of our judges, and he's a teacher, you know what I mean? So he knows what to look for on a lot of choreographic formats. He was on Ambitious. He's done his time. He empathizes. He gets it, you know? So I'm very curious on what Wu-Tae is going to be bringing to the table in what he talks about, you know? What kind of judge is he going to be? Oh, it's going to be really fun. But, it's right here. That's like a huge note for Salad, is that they had a really dope section in this, but that was, I think, one of the only like focal points in it, and we were already 2/3 of the way over with the routine, right? We want to have those types of moments whenever, you know what, let's talk about that moment first, because I talked about it. Let's see if we can find it. That part, did you see that? I really liked that. So it goes, boom, boom, E-V-E, boom, boom. That, E-V-E, boom, boom. Like, you had it trickle naturally into different timbres, because it goes E-V-E, bass, bass, right? There wasn't a ton of that in this routine. Now, I'm not saying they have to always hit that format, but they have to allow us and take us on a journey to hear the track in a different way through the usage of musicality in their movement. But really, it just felt very predictable, which can work against you on creativity, which is a huge pillar of street culture and street dance, because what has accepted it and turned it into what it is the innovation of the craft through the key elements that you use, right? So we have some subtlety here. And then we go, notice right out the gate, some of our girls, they're clapping their hands together, some have it separated. Those would be very basic things that we would want to make sure we're on the same page on, even though we're all going different directions. That's a big gap from here to here, right? And everybody else through context is kind of doing the same thing. So seeing that here, it's an obvious standout, right? Yep, and some of us have a more like internalized perspective, and then with the switch. So everyone's making their own individual choice, but you want the dynamic to look the same, and that was my general note. The little that right there, not quite sure if we communicated how we're going to go about that individualized for sure, but match the dynamic. The little I like my girl over here on stage, right? I like how she hit that. She goes, she throws it. They all look to the other side. I like that, and then we go, yo. Some of us have it covering our entire head, some covering our mouth. Those would be things to clean. That right there into just a cartwheel, it looks like, and then we set into a little tabletop, bringing it through, do a little hook out of that, dipping it through, fine. Another one, and where I'm at. And also some of our choices, we're doubling it up, making an ambidextrous groove, which means that we're doing the same groove on both sides. So there's not a lot of deviation from the fundamentals that we're using. So a lot of the choices of their content are not varied or innovated. And so that can stifle your creativity if you're not going to be enhancing or like playing with the timing or the polyrhythms of it, and you're not really messing with the texture of it either, nor the timing format of it. It does come across very predictable, which can make your routine plateau a lot faster than other routines that have heavy level utilization, heavy shifts of your staging and spacing, dynamics out the wazoo, texture usage, presentation, projection, because that's a big thing. A lot of this stuff probably looks, honestly, all this stuff will look 4 times better in person, but most of us do not have that ability to go and look at these in real time. So what we have to go off of is you have to learn how to project or showcase your image as a brand and as a group to the masses through the laymen that influence scoring. I mean, we do have some sense and some power of percentage here. It's debatable on if it's too much. I think I've had some opinions about that in the past, but that's a completely separate thing. I don't know how they're going about it in Vietnam. What is the format there? But I know a lot of times a lot of competition shows are going to go off of the social media side of things. So yeah, so they go on the marches. That right there, we could have done some more da-da-da-da. Like we had so much like da-da-da-da-da. Like we could have hit that back home, like freaking throw it away or do something, you know, but we just marched it. So it just kind of felt like we just transitioned through the whole thing and kind of ignored the music for a second. And also I said this about salad and I will say it again here, outside of the dee that we really touched on in the very beginning after my watch through. One thing, one good test for anybody who does choreography that you can try on yourself is if you want to see whether or not you have heavy musicality in your routine and you just can't gauge it, try to take your routine and put it on another track. And if it's able to, like, if I just find this BPM and I put whatever song I want on it, is it going to look the same? If the answer is yes, then we need to add more depth to it. Because right now it still feels very surface level in the movement execution as well. And so that can work against you in your rankings and how you showcase yourself in this format. I like the flag. That was cool. It was subtle. And then we take both arms. And then my girl right here, she did something a little bit different, but because her arm was so similar, it was really hard to clock if she was my feature or not. She's the only one who kind of broke out of the formation. And then that queen right there on the throne, boom. You could always do, you know, different types of crowns. Queen on the throne. That's fine. Slides through. Little kick, but notice we're off on our spacing. She kicks through, and that was a little bit too far from that illusion, but I understood what we were going for. Yeah, rotten right here. We've also had one of our dancers disappear, so this could have been a really great opportunity to introduce levels. So have my girl right here get really low on it, or to have it transition out, have another girl transition out this way to do a fun little reveal, but also do a dynamic change or do a transition, but also polyrhythmically executing it in a different way. So those are the kind of stuff that we're looking at. Like right here, that drop, that makes sense right there. So I like the fact that we have it, but it's not a concern, but my observation still stands because we still have one girl completely like, we don't see her at all in this moment. And we could have totally have used her in some way, framing with the arms, doing something to add to the routine and not make the routine have to navigate and justify with just 4 people. You got 5 people for a reason. Let's really use them to the best of our abilities, you know? So the drop was fine. The slide through, then we sit through, boom, boom, and she goes, she has her feature in the zone. That rock like Jess. And then we go clap, clap. This, notice half of them have their arms high above their head, have them right here. That should be a clarification in the practice space. It's just, I think if you're gonna do simpler content, you have to be cleaner on it because what one group has in complexity allows them more grace to not be as clean versus groups that are simple. People have the expectation it should be cleaner. Now, is that always the case? For me, sometimes simple makes it harder to clean, which is why it's nice to go complex and really fight for it. It does kind of feel like we're coasting a little bit, like we're not really applying ourselves to really push the envelope on what we can do with the track. I think it kind of comes across that way, which is something you want to grow in a format competition like this. So that would be something I would get in the studio space and really look at is how are we cleaning our routine? You know, K-pop groups have to do it. I like that. Boom, boom, dun, dun. I like the double up on that. Cool. Little head, and we go over, then we transition. The bush you could. Everyone made their own choice. That's kind of fine. Nothing crazy there, but because we weren't super clean in our unison sections, it's hard for us to appreciate the individualized sections. There's a balance. Like you want to have both, but both can't be appreciated if one's not holding up its end of the deal on the routine. The punch is cool. Nice. Swinging it through. Nice. Subtle. So she's having her moment, which we find is fine. So they go and they break away, traveling, all kind of doing their own thing. Once again, still individualized. And that whole part right there, it just kind of felt like we're eating up time waiting for the next part of the music to come in. That la 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 la. That part's cute. They could have made it a transition in it instead of everybody being stagnant in it, because we're not doing content in our transitions that are like matching certain parts of our music outside of whole counts, is what I'm noticing here too. So our transitions are coming across more simplistic than advocating for compensating for the lack of complexity in your content. The pulses on that is fine. And it also feels like we're featuring the same girl quite a lot. Now, could she be our leader? Maybe. But I always give it a note of like, Bebe's a great example. Bada, she can naturally be featured because she's the leader, but also it can work against them if it's Bada and the girls. Like that was a big thing they had to navigate through all season. I never viewed them that way, but not really. But I really liked them all showcasing themselves as their own. I think in the finals was when you really, really saw that. But in this case here, that's what I'm hopeful for, is that everybody can hold their own in terms of an established member, instead of it really looking like we have to rely upon one member and others are kind of the backup for them. That's just how the choreography is structured, is giving that impression. The swing through, ding, ding, and ding, 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 and then we go, da, da, da. Yep, and then I like the levels there. I'm a beat, and da, da, da. That was nice. Cool choice. Hit, 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 ba-da-da, in your eyes. Like, ba-da-da, in your eyes or something. You know, I really want us to play around with options. I want you to give me options. I want you to surprise me. I want you to make me hear the music in a different way, because unfortunately, this all feels very predictable, and that really impacts your creativity and your performance. So they go, doom, doom, and we go, yeah. D, 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 D. Now notice we're about a minute in, and it's probably about 45 seconds too late that we hit our first like heavy syncopated moment, which is this. Click, 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 click. Really dope. Love that. So they're capable of it. We just have to see it more often. Is it going to be more on the brain? Yes. Is it going to be more on the body? Yes. But it's a dance competition. You know, I feel like that's a really good avenue we can learn to grow in. That right here, E, I think we could have cleaned that, made it a little bit smidgen more refined. Boom, E, V, E, and then we're about to do it again. And it's boom, boom, boom. Nice right there. Click, click. D, D, D right there. Then we go subtly back. Ding, ding, ding. And then we go. E, ding, E, V. Yeah, right here. Boom, back. Little nay-nay action. Or actually it feels like a little nay-nay or a little Dougie more so. And then you have your outskirts girls on the side there. Bridge it through. Now this part. D, D, D. Right here. It just felt very extremity oriented with our legs and our arms. Click, click. E, V, E. And swinging it through that part. Swing, swing. Nice. So definitely go with a more old school effect on that. And then we go clap, 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 but we're not very clear on our hands. And it feels very internal instead of really like clap into the front. So it feels like we're keeping our things to ourselves versus really promoting and projecting to the camera. Dropping it down. I like that. Hitting it through with a punch. Nice with a rotation. Then they take it, rotate it, boom. And then we take our hands over to the side. I like this choice. That was nice. I love that. Click, click, click. Woo, that's cute. Across the back, little Charleston action, and then we pick up our feet and swing, swing. That section's really, really cool. I think we had a lot of potential in that. I wish it was kind of flip-flopped, so we could be captivated by that. I love that. This visual is sick. That was cool. Like, I really like that. Into a fun finish. Cool. I mean, it's definitely, they feel the most the same out of all the groups, because a lot of my notes overlapped with this. And I'm hopeful that after, or at least with the episode, I'm provided with more context, because there's a chance some of these crews are known for battle, because that was a really big note I gave to Wolflow. They are heavy in the battle scene, but what ended up happening is their choreography, their toolkit wasn't as refined as their battle toolkit is. And some of these groups may be the same way. So I'm curious with Salad, are they known for battling? What are they known for? You know, it makes me curious in that. And hopefully there will be subbed episodes so I can really be a part of it, and know more context and be a part of the journey with these groups, because this is like a nice little inaugural season for Vietnam. I think it's cool. Okay. We got SOFIRE.
Welcome! Big shot! Anybody inside? No. Outside? Cocaine white body look like Gentiles.
I like that choice. I wish the camera panned it back a little bit more so we could see it. Kendrick? Okay.
Tap off, getting tapped off in the city. Big top dog, and I dance on them like Diddy. Pop off and I pop back like 50. Yeah.
Okay. I like that. Nice. Little network. Okay, that could be cleaner. Okay. I like that choice for my girl in center on that. They're really not using their back on some of these choices, because you can tell that their arms are moving, but the back doesn't have as much engagement. A little get sturdy. Oh, it's a little catwalk. Okay, a little air screw. That was cool. I think it was a whack attack, wasn't it? Okay. Okay. Okay, so my big note for them, I wish they were cleaner. I really, really want to see them clean and full, really use their torso to their advantage on this, because some of their choreographic choices have incredible potential in how they are structured, let me tell you. But some of it gets lost in translation because we're either not clean in the visual or the execution of it isn't powerful enough to justify the choice. It's really what it is. But I like the choice. Does that make sense? So they are giving off the same vibes that they were giving off in the K-pop challenge, where I liked a lot of their choices, but it feels a bit muted or muddled or not clear, which is what you really want to have in a competition like this, right? So they go, I like just the walkouts. They say, welcome. They say, what you doing? So, hold up, Donna. I kind of, you know, the shoulders are up, Donna. Hold up. It doesn't really come across as like a, what? Excuse me? You know, I think it's supposed to come across like, oh, you wish, maybe. But I think it's because the shoulders were a little bit too high on that. But I don't know if that was just a preference thing. That's fine. Live your life. But everyone has the gun facing towards the inside. It doesn't feel symmetrical because you don't have somebody justified on this side. You have somebody in the center, which is cool, but you have somebody as an outlier over here, so it kind of throws off the balance in the very beginning, but that's very subtle. They don't really stay here for a ton of time. And everybody goes back in, and then you have your group of three that drops low, and then you have those that are high. He goes outside, nice little feature moment still with her. You're still clocking her, we like it. And they go dun dun, everybody mashes the dynamic, and it goes dun dun dun. This part was nice. I really like the choice where he goes, everybody has a little conversational moment that complements what the feature's doing, but the camera's so close, we miss these two. So I don't think that's their fault. I think it's just the camera guy. We should have pulled back there so we could really see this visual. And they come back in, little okay. And they go emotional. And then with Kendrick, this is a Kendrick track, right? So his pocket, if you've seen Not Like Us, go watch it, because there is so much West Coast dance in that bad boy. And that would be kind of like that underlying type of pocket you'd want to explore in a Kendrick piece like this, and it kind of feels like we're not really riding in that very much. It's kind of like we're what is it? It's not, what's the best way to word it? We're not using any groove in our torso that justifies like that, this rigid, grungy, hingy type of pocket that exists in a type of track like this, I think is my note. So they go and they present out. One of our people is still an outlier. That's the risk you run with a group of 6. I talk about this very often when I look at even number groups, whether it is a dance group or it is a K-pop group. You have to learn how to be creative with an even number. That's why a lot of times choreographers prefer odd numbers, because they can let their features be featured without having to worry about the issue of symmetry, because so far we haven't really been symmetrical yet, which normally if you do it once it's fine, but if you continue to kind of do that, or you sacrifice a side for the sake of maintaining a feature, then it's going to kind of just feel off balance, and that's just a subconscious thing that we experience. So we go and we express out. So my note for them is I would really love to see how we can be creative in showcasing our even number through the usage of levels, through our formations, sections because a great group that I have seen that utilizes a group of 6 so well is Astro. It's so impressive because I don't even think about it at all. So well done. A little we throw, and they go through, boom, dun, dun, little step out. Now, does this feel like we built it to any sort of, like, dramatic place? Not quite yet. And on a track like this, you notice we had a little mini drop happen, but nothing really happened in the energy or the flow. So that would be my note there, is you got to give us something in your torso, in your groove, or in your projection, in your performance that allows us to feel like we're really invested in this choreo or in the track. I like the double up, double up, double up. It's little things like that where they go step, step, double, double. Like, do they do a little train, which is cool. They go click, 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 click. Like, they're going for the syllables. Like, I really like the choice, but it's just not clean, you know? Because notice with some of our people, we folded it in. We got some people with their arms straight, which we like. Some people are really committing with their head. I like the choices. We just need to commit to one of them if you're going unison. You know, also here we have, it's not the spacing is off. You know, we have 2 people that are closer to my feature than my 2 out here, and my feature's been in the center for a pretty long time too, which is life. And then right here, one of our people was I just learned something. Hold up. Okay, so I want you to notice one of our people is hidden back here. Remember that. She's going the opposite way. She's the only person going the opposite way in this choreo, right? So if you look, it looks like she's wrong. Does that make sense? But you notice that you have not 1, but 3 people that end up taking their leg and pressing it off. So I have 2 hypotheses with this. Firstly, this person was doing the same thing that she was doing, but because we couldn't see her, we couldn't actually appreciate it. Second thing could be she was supposed to have a feature moment, and everyone was supposed to do the same thing except for her. I saw this with, it was Dio in EXO's, I think it was Overdose. I said that note there, or maybe it was, yeah, I'm gonna go with Overdose for that because I just looked at it. But here's my suggestion. I would have suggested if you are going to deviate and have her be featured in that way, she needs to have a either level change, or she needs to go about it or hit a different part of the music to make it clear that she's supposed to be the outlier, because it just felt like she was doing it slightly off compared to everybody else. But the reason why it's hard for us to deviate from that mindset is because we haven't been given a super clean 8 count yet. That shows us that you can hold it down looking the exact same on some of these unison sections that that's the premise. If you're going to do it all the exact same, then do it the exact same, you know? But I like the choice of it breaking away like that. But that was suggestion 1. Suggestion 2 would be if you're gonna keep the choreo the same and have her do it, then also have the other 2 that are doing this little push away also do the deviation or do the opposite side, so it feels more cohesive and balanced. Because we're already struggling with that because you're an even number and we haven't quite had a balanced formation yet. Right here. Yeah. Hitting it through. Boom. Hit. I love this right here going the bass. I love that bass. And we reset the rock. I love that choice. That's cool. And then from there, we do a little ball change, little step switches on that. We love that. The ditty, of course, not quite the cleanest. At least if you're going to make individual choices, we want that snap or that dynamic to be the same, which is, you know, I've noticed it in some other groups, and some groups really need to work on it. And in this case, for me, that's their big thing, is they have a lot of their toolkit way to go, ready to compete with, but they don't have the cleanliness to execute it to the caliber that it needs to be so we can appreciate it, right? So that's my big note there. That hit through, ding, 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 right there. Cleanliness over on the side right here on stage right. That dun, dun, right here. I like the subtlety here. That boom, dun, 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 dun. Cool. This was a more subtle, transition into a different style represented. We're here for it. I like the shoulder interruption on that too. Yeah, boom. That's fun. Very definitely a party. And that feels very even. We love it. That part, ding, 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 ding. And then we go right here into a chest, but also feels like we're doing into a little network. Boom, little syncopation on the tap, tap. Nice, so we're going a little afro. Notice here now, so this is going to be an interesting conversation. This is our 3rd crew now where it's been very clear that we have an afro section. Remember, I say section. You have groups like Jam Republic. They have Afro through and through their stuff. They do an entire routine of Afro or African tribal influenced stuff. They can, because a lot of them live or reside in being influenced by that culture directly. You know, in this case here, do I think they have any skin in the game in terms of Afro? I don't know. Just like I don't know who's affiliated with Vogue and who's affiliated with what in the niche in the culture. That is at the discretion of them. I can only go off of what I see in front of me. My note though is, you notice there's 3 crews that so far, and I think I have one more to look at. They all have their, oh my gosh, just use words. They're all using Afro. And some of their choices have some overlap, specifically with F.E.D. And it wasn't Oops, it was the second group to go. It was, HANOIXGIRLS. They had very similar Afro sections. So that's why my note that I made way earlier on in this analysis low-key stands, because you don't want your style justification to look too similar to another crew's, because that can be subject to subconscious comparison, because you're already being compared throughout the challenge and other schemas, and that's one less thing you want to worry about. You want everybody to have a very distinct style, but having a risk like this, because of their song choice, help transition it into a really nice way. But they also have to be mindful, if you're going to use Afro, you got to bring something to it or innovate it or do something to where it looks authentic. Because I would say some of our crews that we've seen have an authentic, like, they have a way to execute the fullness and the demand of what the style requires. And other crews are doing the content, but it doesn't have an essence or a carriage of posture justification, which can lead to it just looking like content and it doesn't look like it's you as a group. And that's something that you always want to strive for, is to maintain your crew as your crew, right? So the pull on that, I like the circle choice in the pull. Ding, ding, right here. We have just a wrist roll, bringing it up, slamming it down, and then right here we cut to a different part. That right there, I think they could have been a little bit better about matching their body rolls on that. That was something, a great example is when you watch F.E.D's K-pop challenge, and I made a specific note about it. You watch how they do an arch in the back, and they were the exact same. Those are the kind of moments you want to have in your choreography, especially if you're going to do something like what they just did. That was a perfect opportunity for it, but because we're not quite clean and we haven't really been clean quite yet, I get to see what we're going for, but I haven't gotten to appreciate or be captivated by them and their presence collectively. And that's something that I want to see from them, and that's what I'm looking forward to seeing at some point, because this show, out of one thing that the Street Fighter franchise is known for, it is growing people. Now, does it grow people healthily? It depends on which one you watch, but also I have no idea how Vietnam structures the drama side of reality shows. Maybe you guys can let me know, but I digress. Just looking at the movement quality and the dance side of things, that's having some cleaner range choices would really help us appreciate their choreography more. Hitting it through. That right there too. Not quite sure who was right because the timing was off on both. That boom, dun dun dun, dun, the turn through. I like that. That was nice, but notice one of them sunk lower, one stayed where they were, so it's little details like that. Out, I like the little add on to everybody else, but it kind of felt like, okay, we have this big clump of people coming in versus a seamless integration of like puzzle piecing in a existing formation, you know, because we have an abnormal gap right here. We have some spacing that's already established here, but notice how really clumped together we are here. So it could just be a logistics of space. That's just what happens, but that's a note for this. Digging it through, ding, 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 and then we do a little rotation, do with the forearms. We take it, expand out, click, click, click. I think some of my two right here kind of sunk a little bit deeper. Hitting it through, and then we have the switch up, and we turn through. I like that little rotation happening, the connection there, but one of our girls over-rotated, or not over-rotated, but was over-pulled in, and I like that. I think, what did they do? A roll through? Let me see. Oh yeah, it's just a forward roll. That's fine. That little boom, boom, I like, you know, for me right there, sort of boom, like pop off, you know. For me, it just felt like an accent and didn't feel like we were impacting anything. Yeah, it could just be the camera, and it could just be just XYZ. It could be so many different factors, but we have to go off of what we see in front. That felt a smidgen underwhelming, but I could hear what they were going for. A little body roll, then click, click, click. And then you have, once again, you have one person as your feature go the opposite way. But because we weren't clear in the direction long enough until we deviated to an individualized choice, that didn't feel super finished. It didn't feel like we followed through 100% through what they were going for that 1 point feature with everybody else moving to the side, if that makes sense. It felt incomplete. Then from there, you have a little rotation. That right here, so what my girl did right here, I really liked, and I would love to see more of this in this group. So notice what she does. She goes back down, she takes that leg, she kicks it, and then she uses that leg as a prep. So I wish that she did a little bit more rotation, but I understand why she cut it off, and so she can do this prep. And then she grabs it to rotate it around. I love that. But then, once again, I mean, we have everybody on the same page except for one. Her arm is not in the right place. That would have been a super dope, captivating part. But also note, it's a minute 9 in of a 2:02 routine. We should have had, like, captivating moments like this way earlier. They're not the only group I've talked about this with. There's quite a few groups that I'm giving the same note to, which is fun for me. Like, I really like seeing this as like our starting point because it makes me so excited to see what we're going to see in the future. You know what I mean? I'm here for it. Like that, taking it through, and then they take the arm, switch, dee, they hit that whoa, 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 and I know that they're hitting it with the rotations. Yeah, and then she takes it, she's driving, but she has his arms a smidgen bent. She's not letting her torso influence this hinge groundedness that normally you see when you do a setup like this, somebody in the center. Also, look, it's not centered, or sorry, it's not balanced because you have somebody hanging out over here. It's because I've seen it too many times that I'm clocking it more and more, and I'm just sensitive to it as a viewer, is that this part feels emptier over here and it doesn't feel as complete because this girl is either not sacrificed behind, there's no level in front to help with it, things like that. So that's my note there. Click, click, D, and so they're hitting the same thing there too, but not clean, so it's hard to really know. D, and then we go da-da-da. Then we go bass, bass. So we ignore the lyrics there, which is fine. Wah, 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 bass, bass. Cool, we pick up the gun, little chun chun. That is technically a gun being popped off, so they do, like, they're cocking it. And I don't know if they have a gun, like, happening in there. I think it's just a pop. But not everybody is, you know, having the same degree of commitment to it, so it doesn't feel as impactful. Yeah, they hit it down and then they rotate it to the outside. Still unbalanced. I'm not quite sure what her intention was with this. Oh, da-da-da-da. I think it was just very subtle on that with the walk. That's fine. I like her performance. There's your little sturdy right here. I like the little viral moment. We're here for it. Hut and drop, but, and then they go right here into, I think it was giving a subtle duck walk. But you could go, no, I wouldn't give it a catwalk or anything like that yet. That was cool with the unsheathing sword kind of vibe. I like the little head rotation, but I do wish it was more balanced. You can tell that the spacing is a baby off with my person right here. They need to be about, no, I think about right there. It's so subtle though. There's other bigger things. You know what it is? It's actually my dancer right here, because if you're noticing, this is a really nice line. This is a curve, and that's why this dancer feels like their space is a little bit off from these two. But it's really because this dancer needs to be right here, and I think it would have closed in a little bit more clearly. So that's my note there, and they are mirrored. And so that's my note too as well. And they go down, and then they throw it forward, the hinge around. I don't know if she fell out of that or not, but the hinge, that kind of hinge would be really cool if everybody had the same commitment with the head. You know, their angle is where it needs to be, things like that. You have half of them going down, half going back. I like the choice. And then they go to the side, hit, doom, nice. That right there, it does feel like a whack attack, doesn't it? So she goes through, she does more of just like a straight range on it with an overhead. And then she goes through. I like that moment. That was cool. That was cool, but also, did she fully commit all the way through? Oh, technically yes, because there's another accent. So just like remember with F.E.D, I gave them the note that there was a certain part of their music that they were doing a certain part of their movement in sequence to it, but they finished the movement and kind of held through the rest of that timbre, and I gave them a note of that. Here in this case, I think it's a little too close to call, but I will say I do like the fact that she did what she did. It was really dope. I loved it. Great usage of the torso for it, but then you have this kick accent that my other dancer right by her did. I liked that because if you had somebody over here do that kick, it would have been way harder to read because our focus is over here. So having somebody next to her do that accent, if we're this close with the camera, is gonna be better on catching your feature change like that. I like that right there, going to a little camel walk action, little pas de bourrée, little kick, kick, kick. This could always be cleaner. Little elbow pulse there, and switch, switch, whoosh. And then I like the little pony, jing, 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 jing. I like the choices. I like the choices. I love this. That's fun. Instead of traveling it forward, they went backwards with it. That's different. I like that. The clap there, and then here, it does feel like we're going 2 different levels, but because of the rotation and we're not getting low enough, we're not catching it. And also one of my dancers here is not going low enough to match my other 2. So it does feel incomplete. There's always one dancer that's deviating too far in the movement that doesn't allow us to really appreciate it, you know? Yeah, that's my note. Or my 2, like, this person is too low, so we can't appreciate the level change. I think is what we're noticing. It's like we're not committing, like we're not being very clear on what is our level here? What is my body doing? The hinges. We're not asking those types of questions in the rehearsal space for the cleanliness side of it, so we can appreciate when they are doing dynamics like level changes like this. And I like the little partnering section there, that boom here. Spacing, I think, could be a lot better, especially right there. We notice that. Then we dig through. Heading through, everyone makes their own choice. I like the absence of movement coming out of that. That was fun. And then you have your feature. The just feel like we're going a little bit of a network to come out of that. Little brush, little party moment, little peekaboo. Hey, partner section. Hey, we're killing it. Love it. And when they hit, pas de bout, hit, pas de bout. So the accent's happening on different parts of the music, or not music, of the timing. Normally you hear a pas de bout pickup, pas de bout pickup, but they're going pick up, pas de bout up, pick up. You know what I mean? So it's like how they're setting it up. The accent of the move is different, and that's what I like about it. Which was a note for Salad that they don't have a lot of those timing differences on the movements that they're doing. They're very predictable in how they're structured. They're things that we normally see whenever you train those moves. That's the format at which they come in. It doesn't feel like they varied it very much. In this case, I see a lot of the variance, but because it's not clean, like, and I'm not even asking for that crisp cleanliness. I'm asking for, like, everybody's arm needs to be in the same place generally, and we want to have it straight. Like, having, like, the basic cleaned over to where we can appreciate the level changes, the dynamics they're going for, those types of things. There's your semi, the hitting it boom, boom, and doon, doon. Everyone's, you know, I mean, holding it down pretty different, or no, sorry, pretty similarly. But the hit through, the crossover, that right there, it doesn't feel like we were all on the same page on when to rotate with the hit, to do the accent with the leg. So that felt a bit muddled at the end. They go to the end, and then we finish in our little semi. Cute, we're here for it. Nice, nice. Final group. Yeah! 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 Okay, we could have grabbed that a little bit more clearly. Okay. They're giving me Wolflow vibes in some of their structures. Yeah! Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah. Woo! Yeah. Yeah. Oh, okay. Cool. I like that they kept the audible chants in that. Yo, okay, so we got to talk about the name of this crew first, because somebody put in the comments that this crew's name has some potentially not in Vietnam specifically, but some potentially negative affiliation with it. I think it's in with the Nazi party is what I heard. Now, do I think that's why they have the name? Most likely not. I don't think that way, but I am aware that there is that form of affiliation, which could be the reason why it was blurred in the K-pop challenge. So I find that very interesting. Okay. The group that surprised me the most is this group right here. They make me very excited to see how they're going to battle, because if they're going to do the Street Fighter format in Vietnam the way that they have in Korea, there's going to be heavy battles, and I think they're going to be one of the ones to beat there. Right? Now, most consistent group, I got to give to F.E.D. They are very consistent, and they're kind of that low-key standard of what people were expecting for the show, right? All the other groups, I'm so excited to see these groups grow. This group right here is a freaking dark horse. I'm going to tell you why. Because they have such an authentic groove about their choices. They just need to beef up the complexity of dynamics with levels. They need to upgrade the choreographic toolkit, which they will naturally do in the show, so they could turn into a front runner very quickly if they frame it right, because they'll be able to survive battles is what they're giving off to here, and that's how Wolflow made it as far as they did. They've survived their battles, you know what I mean? So, okay, from the top. Bump, bump. Because this is also... This right here, her setup right here, I love how she set it up, her flow, all freestyle coming out of this. I love that. Oh, and the presentation on this, she grabs... Love that extra reverb there. Everyone's very still and intentional. Another person comes up. Da-da-da. Da-da-da. I like that because everyone's clear on when they're moving and when they're not. Very nice, and it helps us appreciate these little pockets and peekaboos. It showcases them individually. Also, this choreo felt the most like a crew. Does that make sense? Like, this felt like I'm looking at Warriors right now. So I think they're already meeting what they need to when you're going to do a crew preview. This feels like a true crew preview to me. It doesn't feel like we're trying to fit a schema of style justification like some of the other crews have come across as. But it's just so, guys, this is like such a dope benchmark. Even though I am being very constructive, I think a lot of you guys watch these for that, like, and I'm doing this to try to be as helpful as possible. Unlike if you're in a competition and you're like, I don't know what to do, I personally would want to have some sort of feedback of somebody who is, of somebody who's had a background in adjudicating choreographies for a competition. I would love to hear that kind of perspective and let that be a seed to help in navigating, trouble spots in my own personal crew. No one is exempt from critiques. No one is exempt from compliments. Does that make sense? So in my case here, I am here to help. And I know so far F.E.D. has been very encouraging to me and that I am being helpful. Thank you for that, and I hope that I'm helpful for all the groups if any of them come across this, if they know English, this, that, or the other. And I hope those of you who watch the show, who have seen the Street Fighter franchise, I hope you guys learn too, and I hope that I continue to learn. I have a lot of questions just as much as I have guided answers too. So I'm really excited for this group just to see what they do, because this was a really, really dope group review, like for real. Let's turn through. I like that with the rotation. That right here, woo, woo, with the head ISO. Oh my God, that was filthy coming from my girl right here. Let's watch that one more time. I am a sucker for head ISOs. Let's see it. She turns through. I think her balance could have been a smidgen better, my feature. Yeah, and the fullness there. Notice everybody's committing past the shoulder. It's that kind of stuff. They're using that back because you have to. Then picking it up. Now, they do repeat a lot, but what's really nice about it is that they're clean. And because I've seen a lot of groups between F.E.D. and Warriors that really weren't the cleanest in a lot of their execution, being introduced to them, it helps me be drawn in. I'm like drawn in of the fact that they're able to hop this many times on the same degree of height. That's impressive, because normally you see people do that once or twice. You're not used to seeing them do it 4 or 5 times, but still be clean. That's captivating in and of itself. And they're doing jumps. And this right here, they're doing a lock-in. Cool. I think her arms are a little bit too high. I think they needed to be a little bit more parallel there, or everybody else needed to match the arms on the side. But I liked that. And then a little dig here. Boom, boom. Hitting it through. Oh my God. Gosh, pop the freak off my girl right here. She gives me Emma vibes from Jam Republic through and through. Hitting it through. Hit, bah, nice accent. And we go punch, punch, punch. And they take the arms up. I love the commitment with my feature. The front, hit. And then they pull from the chest. They go base, base. I like the extra choice coming out of that. Then they cross and then they take the leg. They twist it with the kick. Nice. Then they go back in. Boom, boom. Yep, so I think that part wasn't quite clear on what kind of dynamic we were going for in the line, but I could tell that everybody was hitting a dynamic together, so it felt a little bit more gracious there. I pick up on the V, and then we body roll, boom, boom. I like that. Wada, dada, whoo. Yeah. Yeah, so we're doing a lot of unison. Once again, it's how are you committing in your unison? And they're committing pretty good, because right here you have, this is a good example of everyone's doing the same move, but the hinge and the drop of the level really makes a difference in showcasing. We are dealing with two very obvious levels. We have a lower and then we have a higher. I love that. Love this so much. So dope. Yep. Hurt. Hurt. Now from here, they didn't just come up. They go hurt and then they're syncopating it. Did it, and then the subtlety, this right here, like the switch in the posture from the walks, really full into into petty. Ooh, they're hitting the pocket of the track, and that is exactly my note that I wanted SOFIRE to work towards. SOFIRE's got the choreography toolkit. They got the essence and the genuinity and the pocket. The question is, which one's going to be measured more in terms of the competition format? For me, I prefer simplicity with authenticity over complexity with no authenticity, if that makes sense to me, because of the street dance scene of things. But it just depends on your judges, and it depends on the fan base, and it depends on who's watching. There's so much involved in this, but I digress. I love their pocket in this. That right here, the speed change on this, and it feels genuine. I feel it. And they double it, boom, boom, and then they send it up. Ooh, it goes low, high. Ooh, little Dougie, we're here for it. Yep, so it goes down, up, and the double, nice. So they're syncopating it. It's nice. And is this a smidgen predictable? Kind of, but not like there's no trouble for them in terms of like how they're, what's the word? It's not working against them right now. Does that make sense? Like, I'm hopeful that we don't stay here, because this is an amazing benchmark. I want to see more complexity in their levels. Even in their movements, they don't have to make those more complex, but they have to compensate it with something else to maintain the balance of it for the type of performance it is. So this is a fantastic benchmark, though. That double here, boom, 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 and they push it back. Yeah. And they go back, really nice, and they take it through. I like that right there. Notice it took her a hot second to kind of grab there, and it's because that camera's really close, we were able to see that. But I like this girl prepping right here. Rolling her through. I like that choice. And getting the stability there with the slide through. Nice. And then they go the switch, 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 which is nice. They take it, little kick there. I do wish that the range on both of their kicks were the same on that. So that's my note there. I like the commitment of my girls down there. They come back up, and then everybody's joined right back in. That's a good example of creating something and turning it into an add-on. I know with SOFIRE, it felt like it wasn't quite a puzzle piece on the add-on. Here, this one feels more cohesive, but because of the camera angle, it is hard to really navigate that though. I love that right there. Next check. I wish that we got to see the setup and see how smooth it was going to be, but they cut it probably just to make sure we got a really clean shot of it. I like the sit in the chair. Love that. Da 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 da. Then we drop. Boom. And it through. Boom. And then right there, it feels like we go into a sidewalk, and then we take it. Boom. We rebound. And I like the complementing happening in the outside. Really dope. I like the kick there. She accents. This is dope. This would be a super dope going commando if they do a 2v2. That was cool. They hit it and they move across. I love her walk. This right here, she's doing a straight up. She's straight up just popping. I love it with the steps, with the walk out. Ooh, 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 ooh. Love the pops from side to side. Let's go. She's not doing a walkout. She's just pop. You're just giving me heavy Pop and Pete vibes. Pop and Pete sets up like this. Ooh, Denoy. I've seen Denoy set up like that. Ooh, the switch up. Boom, boom. We love it. We love it. Yeah, boom, to the side, and I like the slide of that leg to really let that torso shing over to the side. We love it. The kick on that's really cool. then we go back in, woo, melting it in, really dope, into a W, and then you have the pop pop, and they actually do pops. Ugh. I like this here. She goes boom, boom, and they're not bops, they're pops, so they're external chest hits. I love it. I love that. Love that. And I like that there too, where she goes and boom, boom, and they kind of do a little glitch. We're here for it. Or it's a stutter is what it's called. Cool. So they go a subtle running man. Everybody notice they are using the shoulders in the same interruption. And then she gets to have her feature moment. Love it. She hits it up. Boom. Really nice. And then they go, expand it out, hit, and it goes da da da. Really nice. It is giving me like a Electro Boogaloo setup is what all this reminded me of. So that would be my note there, is I really liked what she did and it worked very effectively for this track. I'm very curious about what she's going to do with other popping and Boogaloo fundamentals, because that was giving heavy Electric Boogaloo setup. Da-da-dum, guys. Now this, oh my god, I love this choice. She takes it and then she goes the opposite way than you would expect. Like she overshot it in one side, because when you go down, which way do you think she's going to go? It's until she moves. Right here, you're naturally going to think, ding, she's going to go this way. No, no, no. She goes the other way. Oh, and then she goes and she twiggles it in. And then right here, she runs the risk of possibly overusing textures, because in the beginning this reversal was cool, but like she did some connections, some like waving influenced movement. This right here we saw her do in that back attitude with this right here. Oh my god, that's so cool. I love that. And then everybody folds back. I do wish the spacing was a smidgen better right there, but also I think the spacing here is the same as the spacing there, so that is what it is. But she sets it up. I like that she looks at it. Oh, there's something subtle about whenever you can just commit and look and not look front. Oh, dying. They go the other way, so I love how she does that switch on that. That's so cool. And then she goes the crossover. This is sick. Into a thread. My god, that's cool. That's cool. And then they go, she throws her out, and then she's got a crump posture coming in hot. I love how she takes it and she does a jab, and then she twists it, and it reminds us of what we just saw. Ooh. Yes, grab it, girl. Come on. The swing up. I love that energy here. Boom. And it actually gets everybody to come up. And then they go run and run. Nice. In the pool here. And then we go and we reset. The accent. Boom. And then we go. I like it. We're just standing there. Nice. Nice. They go to the back. Dun, on tempo. Boom. Boom. Dun, dun, boom. And then right here they go. They throw it. This reminds me of Wolflow. It's this part right here. Actually, Bang 2 Brothers is what this reminds me of. Punch. Punch. Really nice. They take it up. June. I like the extra usage of the back on that. Sick. And then from there, click, click. Oh, I love that. Love that. And it feels like we're doing like subtle step influence on this. And I love the chant. Ha. Ha, ha. And I like that click, click, click to the front. Nice. And then we punch, boom. And then we go into the subtlety. Ooh. What they could have done there is they could have done levels. Like they go boom, boom, and then have a level. That would have been a really cool option there. I love that visual. At the head. Yeah. And then they stutter once again. Boom, boom, boom. And she goes in and up. Goodness gracious. Okay, so for me, my top picks, I think this one is probably one of my favorites. I would say top 2 are going to go to F.E.D. and Warriors. I think HANOIXGIRLS held their own pretty well, but they definitely came up the ranks for me just based off the crew previews. K-pop challenge, I think Warriors versus Oops. I think that's the closest matchup, is what I feel out of all the other matchups. But they freaking bodied in this choreo, and this is a fantastic benchmark to see them start with. Woo! Thank you guys so much for taking the time to watch. My intention is to stay on top of the street women fighter Vietnam side of things. I think it's really dope just kind of looking at this in a real-time lens, because even with Street Woman Fighter Season 2 and all the other Street Fighter franchises, I was a bit delayed on it, and then I caught up on Season 2, but I caught up on Season 1 and Street Man Fighter and all of that all within the past year. So it's really, really cool to be a part of this as it comes out, not even 24 hours, to really kind of see before we even see the show. You know, it's so different, and I'm very curious about the discussions. If you are a member of any of these crews. I want to hear from you. Are these helpful? Do I need to refine my personal feedback to be more productive to help you guys on your time on the show? And those of you who are laymen, what are your thoughts? Which groups stuck out to you, and what are some things that you noticed that maybe I didn't touch on? Because I love learning, and I end up learning just as much from you guys as you guys learn from me. And so I think this is a really cool opportunity to discuss. Once again, my name is Jess, and I'll catch you on the flip side. Bye.